Hey guys, I'm Ray, and we are streaming blacksmithing. Give me just a second. I totally forgot to start recording on the main camera. So, today we are hopefully, fingers crossed, going to be finishing our Trivet. Um, Last Monday, or I guess Monday, I'm tired. I'm gonna take a nap. Don't tell my boss. I mean, aren't we all? Um, so today we are going to be riveting our pieces together. So I've planned for the entire day to be futzing with this because once we get them together, we also need to kind of shape the trivet into a really nice form. Honestly, I think that riveting the pieces together is going to be a little bit challenging. Um, so I don't know. Maybe we'll get it done real easy. Maybe not. So I'm kind of planning on it taking a while. But if we do end up getting it done in or like really quickly, we'll probably start making like a hook or a couple leaves or something like that just to kind of fill the time a little bit. But on Friday, we will be doing my affiliate anniversary, and to celebrate that, we are going to be starting an armor project, the Mandalorian shoulder plate, and we will also be giving away a Ray's Smithy t-shirt. There are only 8 of those in existence, and so yeah, it's kind of neat. So hopefully you guys will join me on Friday for that, and hopefully we can have a great time today. Hey Sandwich, welcome to the stream. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to thin out the material that I had earmarked for making rivets. This material is a little bit too thick for the holes that we that we punched. So that's the first thing that we're going to do. So I need to turn on the forge so we can start working on that. All right. So this is the last dregs of last week's propane tank. I have a brand new one to change to if that becomes, or if we run out or it freezes up. Hopefully it'll work for a while. Alrighty. We've got an ad that's about to start in about 2 minutes, which is pretty typical. Let's put the steel in the fire. Alrighty. I brought the swage block out because I'm hoping that we can use the smallest hole for rivet heading. And I hope it'll work. It might not. We might change to the face of the anvil. I just want a nice rounded rivet head. So we'll see where we need to go for that. Hey, Dr. Optimal. Just in time to see the lighting. Yes. Things are pretty good. I'm looking forward to finishing this next project and starting work on Friday's pauldrons. Should be a fun project. Overall, I think, oh, there's my headphones. I was looking for those. Overall, I think it should be a fun time on Friday. So I should have, or we'll have the piece of steel that we're going to use already nice and cut out. So it's going to be a lot of raising. So we're probably going to be using the raising stake that we made and kind of rounding out the whole piece, and then we'll go back in and we'll start putting in some of those details. Some of the detailing work will be done down in the basement shop in the new setup because we are going to be chasing in the mud horn onto the pauldron, and it's going to be a lot easier to do that where I have all of my chasing set up, like my tools and all of my like resists and things like that. So you will get to see my new setup here in a couple of streams. So that's also really exciting. I'm super excited to show that to you guys. But that also means I have to go and refill my oxygen tank. It has been a really long time since I've refilled a gas tank, so I'm hoping that it's not way more expensive than it used to be. But yeah, it should be a fun time. So I was kind of dreading the process of riveting this thing together because I've got to rivet 3 items together, you know? And I mean, overall, it shouldn't be too bad, but it's going to be a lot easier to kind of accidentally crush these together and bend our rivet. So I got to be a little bit careful about that. And the other thing I'm really concerned about is the very last rivet. When you're putting things in, 365 degrees, you kind of have to finagle it a little bit and do a little bit of, I don't know, weird bending to get that to work. So we shall see how well that goes. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm going to put these over here for now so that they're out of the way for us to make the rivet. Goodness gracious. Yesterday was a pretty good day. I did a lot of editing and I got today's video done, and I'll talk about that a little bit more after this ad ends. So yeah. So today's video on the YouTube is the axe drift that we made several weeks ago. I'm really behind on making our project overview videos because I was doing them, interspersing them in between our videos for quad state. So I'm a little bit behind on those, and we will start catching up as I continue to pump them out and we do a little bit longer projects. I am actually expecting this Pauldron project to take several, or like a couple weeks at least. I'm hoping it's about 2 weeks, but it could be a little bit longer than that. We'll kind of see. We'll judge. It's been a really long time since I've had a chasing and raising project to work on. So we'll see. Maybe it's going to be a lot quicker than I expect, but I'm planning for 2 weeks on that one. So yeah, today's video, like I said, is the axe drift. Next week's video is going to be the hold down that we did before we did the axe head, and I kind of want to show or release the videos on the tools to make the axe head before I release the axe head. That also gives me a little bit of time to kind of finish getting the axe head ready to, for that final beauty shot. So I hope that you guys go and watch those videos. I would very much appreciate it. I think it's a pretty decent video. I'm getting a little bit better at both my shooting and my editing. And so I'm hoping that the videos keep getting better and better as we go. So I've got about a year under my belt of editing videos. So, not bad. It's starting to get a lot easier. And I'm having a little bit more free time, which makes me happy because then I don't feel so stressed. Those first few videos last year were very scary for me. I was very much not, it's completely outside of my wheelhouse to be editing and shooting videos. Like, I did used to do like photography and a little bit of videography. I got hired as a wedding videographer at one point. Um, but I never really did the main shooting. I was kind of like an assistant that dragged lights around and stuff. So, like, the whole content creator thing was very new for me. And after a year of doing it, I can genuinely say that it's getting a lot easier and a lot less stressful. So we shall see how, how things go in this next year and how much easier it gets. Eventually, when I get more events planned and to go on field trips, I really want to try and see if I can't get 2 videos per week out on the YouTube, but I may need a little bit more time for that, so we'll see how that affects our schedule, or my schedule, I guess. Maybe I'll have to work a little bit later. Maybe, we'll see. But yeah, very much looking forward to the future of our channel and of, spending time with you guys. A little bit longer on that heat to get the rivet done. Rabbit Scotsman, welcome. Hello. Welcome, welcome. So like I said, we got a little bit of time left before the steel is hot enough for me to work with it. So yeah, I guess I gotta talk to you until then, right? So I've been playing this video game, Elder Scrolls Online, and they've got a stream where they talk about what's coming up in the new year, as far as like expansions and things like that. And they're doing a live stream to celebrate it, and it starts in like a half an hour. So it was a little bit sad that stream was at the center, in the middle of my stream, so I don't get to watch it until later. I guess I'll just watch the VOD, and see what happens. But I am looking forward to seeing what they're gonna add to the game. Some of you guys know I'm an avid gamer, but I only really like to play MMOs, so, Holy Zoinks! Happy New Year to you as well. Welcome back. I'm glad to see you have returned. But yeah, I hope everything, goes as planned here in the shop, I guess. I did actually think about, putting the stream on in the background, but I was like, you know what, that is going to be distracting. I'll just wait. All right, let's see. Do we have enough? Let me grab a set of tongs. I think those are a little bit too big for this piece of stock. These are the proper tongs. All right. I'm going to press record on this one. And then, now let's go over there. That should be the better view. All right. You know what? I don't have a hammer on the anvil. That's awesome. Let's use this one. I've used the flat section of this hammer, but I have yet to use the rounded section. So let's see how well that goes, or that does. Squaring off this rounded section here. And I might have to move the swage block because it's starting to kind of get in my way. Get more heat. Yeah, I think I'm gonna move it over here for just a moment while we are working on the regular anvil for the rivet. So yeah, yesterday I finished up the video for today and I started working on next week's video. Usually it doesn't take me too terribly long to edit a video. I've got a few things that I want to reshoot, more of the stand-up stuff, and a little bit of voiceover. And then that one should be good, and I'll be able to start on the video for the week after. I kind of try to give a 1 week grace period. So if I get sick or something happens, I don't immediately fall too far behind. I want to make sure that I continue to produce videos, whether I am at 100% or at 70%, or even 40%. So if something happens to me, it might be 2 weeks before YouTube knows it. I like to schedule my videos. They have this function where you can upload your videos and kind of schedule them to tell it when to release them. So oftentimes I have like 1 or 2 unreleased videos on the channel at any given time. So yeah, I think it makes it a little bit more clean that way. And then I don't have to worry as much. And then I get to delete the videos and the footage off of my hard drives. It's really nice. So I am starting to plan the different projects for the next couple of weeks. Like I said, we're going to start our pauldron project. I want to do the raising hammer after that. We'll probably do a couple of small projects in between the pauldron and the raising hammer, just because I like to distribute my long-term projects a little bit. But a lot of times my small projects end up taking like 2 or 3 streams. This project was supposed to be like a 3-stream thing or a 2-stream thing, and it's turned into like six days of streams, 2 weeks. It's kind of crazy. I think it'll be a really nice piece in the end, or at least I hope it does. As long as I can get it nice and rounded, it should be a really nice piece. Like I said, it's going to be a triangle, and I want to kind of round out and make the sides of it a little bit concave so that it's not jarring when it transitions to the corners with the rivets. I want it to be very smooth and very organic looking. Let's do another heat. I gotta be a little bit careful about this so I don't reduce the material too much that it will be loose inside of the holes that we've made. So we are going to continue to kind of check and recheck to see how well they'll go. A couple more heats and we should be good, I think. So the other day, the butler found this like this little plug-in thing, and it plugs into a camera using a USB, and then into or I guess it has like a Bluetooth function, so you can kind of connect your camera to your computer using this little Bluetooth USB port. And so one end plugs into the camera and it transmits to the other end, which plugs into a capture card that goes directly into the laptop. And it was kind of a little bit expensive for untested methodologies. Hey Ping, welcome to the stream. So we got one, and so in the near future we're probably going to test it, see how it works, see if it can work for us when we, in times when I'm trying to drill holes and I need the close-up camera to be, in the cold shop, or, somewhere completely off the wall, or, it'll make it a lot easier for us when we are hanging out at blacksmithing locations or on location. So if it works, fingers crossed it does, that will make things so much easier for our on-the-road streams. We should be able to stream directly from the laptop instead of from the phone, so it'll be a lot cleaner and a lot nicer looking. My laptop, it has a touch screen, and so you can kind of bend it backwards and turn it into a tablet mode, I guess. So then we could plug in the cameras and I wouldn't be tethered to the butler when we're going around, and I could still see your chat and monitor what everything looks like. So I would be really happy if it worked, because it'd make things a lot easier and a lot better. Karen Day is my name. Thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. So yeah, we ordered that and it came yesterday. And I haven't had time yet to mess with it. I do have an alt Twitch account under a different name. I've never used it to really stream with, so I think that if we do the testing, we'll probably do it over there. And that way, it's kind of buried under all of the other things at the bottom. Always fun to play with new gadgets, right? And like I said, it'd be really, really handy to be able to use it if it actually works. And if it doesn't, it's going to be a little bit disappointing, because we definitely could have put that money into something else. So fingers crossed, guys, fingers crossed. It's one of those things where, like, you kind of have to plug it into a little battery pack. So it's like the transmitter, and it plugs directly into the camera, and then it plugs into a battery pack, and then it transmits. Well, there are some more expensive versions that have the battery pack like included in the package, and those ones are about double price. So we're hoping that because this brand doesn't come with the battery pack, we could just add one and it'll work exactly the same. But I mean, you never know. You never know. But new toys, new toys. Got a lot of good new toys this season. All right. Now I'm trying to clean up all of the lumps and bumps, make sure that everything is nice and ready to go, and then I will round everything out. It will also help us kind of straighten things up. But yeah, for our next heat, we're going to round this out, and then we'll cut them off and start riveting. I have had "Let's Rivet a Trivet" in the name or in the title of the stream for the past 3 streams now. And I think this stream is finally the one where we're actually going to rivet the trivet. So super exciting. Speaking of cutting things, stay. Let me grab a cutoff wheel. I have a pegboard in there that has these little hooks, and I buy the cutoff wheels in bulk. So I buy them in tens and kind of stick them up on the wall over there. I also have a couple of, grinding wheels and flat discs up there. I always buy in bulk because I use them so frequently. So that's ready to go. I don't know that necessarily that they're cheaper to buy in bulk, You buy 10 for like, I don't know. I think the last pack I bought was like $25 for 10. It used to be like I would buy 10 for 10 and it would be like $1.50 for one. So I was like saving money by buying in bulk. But these days, I don't know. I think that they're about $2.50 each. So maybe I am saving a little bit. Or maybe it's a wash, 10 for 25, 1 for $2.50. I don't know. One of these days, maybe it'll be cheaper just to buy a brand new angle grinder every time I need a new disc. But yeah. Right now, it's cheaper to buy the cutoffs in bulk. Rizzle the trizzle faux shizzle. Yes, gotta get that rhyming scheme in, At least while I can, I gotta have the clickbait titles. I personally kind of hate clickbait titles, though. It's kind of like, how dare you trick me into clicking on your thing that's not even about that. So we are trying to round out this rivet so that it'll fit right into the hole that we've made. So as always, we are going from a square to an octagon in profile. And then from octagon, we will be rounding it out, taking out all of the facets. I might take one more heat just because it's a lot easier to round things out with a tiny bit more heat. Right now we're kind of planishing things. And planishing is what it's called when you are taking out lumps and bumps and smoothing out material. Ooh, that's gonna make a nice short. I'm surprised they haven't done like they do with things like soap. Soap, get less pay, more. So surprised the discs aren't similar. I mean, sometimes they are, you've got that shrink inflation where it's the same price, but it's a smaller amount of the stuff. But I mean, I think the reason they can't do that is because it would definitely be noticeable if you buy a 4.5-inch disc that fits your 4.5-inch angle grinder, and then you go to buy it again and it's only a 4-inch disc, right? It would be kind of funny though. It'd be like mini discs. I mean, you could kind of do the shrink inflation with the bulk packs, right? So instead of buying 10 for 10, you buy like 5 for 10. So I mean, that might work. By the way, that's a mighty nice hammer you got there, right? It's gorgeous. So this was made by Mike Ling, and I won this in the Christ-Centered Ironworks auction, or not auction, giveaway this year. You need to sell 4.5-inch angle grinder with it is only 4 inches for the same price, right? Shrinkflation. They've been doing that a lot recently here in the United States, where you used to be able to buy like, you know, a toothpaste that was like this big, and it was like, I don't know, like $2.50 or whatever. And now we're spending the same $2.50 and the toothpaste is like this long. So instead of raising the price, the companies think they're tricking us by giving us less product. All right. So once again, we are chasing out all of the lumps and bumps. And maybe we'll flip the hammer over so that we're getting the flatter. That might help us a little bit. I've never actually had a hammer that had like a really flat surface on it because I always put a radius on them when I surface them. So, okay, let's check to make sure that the rivet will fit. And it will not. It will not fit, unfortunately. Okay, so I guess we're going to try this one more time. We'll reduce the diameter of this rivet section a little bit further. Before I rounded it, I only had a guess, you know? Yeah, flat hammers are ordinarily not good because it takes a lot of extra, or I guess you don't get as much work with the flat hammer as you do. Yeah, you need a slight radius. So you'll get that extra pressure from on that radius. But if I'm trying to flatten something out, you know, the flat face actually works very well to get rid of lumps and bumps. As long as I don't hold my hammer and like hammer down at an angle, right? Because it's no longer a flat face, it's more of a like cross peen if I hammer at an angle. So this hammer right here has a nice radius, and this one over here is relatively flat, or the face of the hammer. The hammer itself is definitely not flat. Mjolnir is not a tool, it's a weapon. There is a major difference between hammers that you would use for construction and forging than a hammer that you would use as a war pick. They tend to be, the war picks tend to actually be a little bit lighter so that you can wield them very much, or like a lot faster. You could almost use a framer's hammer, like a claw hammer, as a war pick because usually they tend to be about 8 ounces, which is relatively light, and you could swing those around pretty quickly, and the claw is pretty devastating. But, you know, I don't know, you can jumpstart a car with it, so maybe it is a tool. That's true, you know. Thor's lightning through Mjolnir definitely would charge a car, unless you overwhelmed the electrical system and then blew it out, you know. Yeah, they have a very sharp end usually. Like, you know, I would not like to get hit with the claw end of a framer's hammer. Consumer Advice Center, Habsburg, has an election every year to choose the Deceptive packaging of the year. One candidate for 2025 was Milka chocolate. Price went up to a buck, or no, not a buck. It would be a euro 0.49 and to 199 euros, while the weight dropped from 100k to 90k. Or I mean, 100 grams to 90 grams. I don't know where I got the K from on the grams. In modern cars, no way. Yeah, I really think that Mjolnir would blow out the electronics of a modern car. There are so many computers. Hey, Lexi, welcome to the stream. From kilogram, that's probably where I got it from. But you know what? They were grams, not kilograms. Kilograms would be some really big chocolate bars. Man, a kilogram of chocolate? It'd be like those 1 pound novelty chocolate bars, you know, Hershey that has those 1 pound chocolate bars. Yeah. Oh, yes. I should change the name from Ray Smithy to Ray Drop Stuff. I don't know. I am not the most graceful person in the world. So we've got about 10 seconds left in this break, so we should be good. For me to just like wait a little bit. Breaks are really nice for me to be able to breathe. Yes, you're right, Bluesy. I should change my name from Ray Smithy to Ray Drop Stuff. I drop so much stuff. It's like drop forge. Everything. It gets flung halfway across the shop or I drop it. I have made a couple Dropsy shorts, but they weren't as funny as I thought they would be. I think I need to add some music and maybe a little bit of variety to the drops. But yeah, 100 kilograms of chocolate reminds me of like the 1 pound Hershey chocolate bars that are like yay big. Every once in a while, my grandma used to give me one of those for like Easter or something, and it was huge. I only got to eat like a tiny little sliver of it each sitting, and it took forever, you know, for me to eat through the whole bar. There are packages of 400 grams, so a kilogram is not far away. When grocery shopping in Belgium, I used to buy some kilograms of chocolate. I love watching the debate on what the voltage of Thor's lightning is. Ray's Drop Shop. Ooh, that's a good name. I will have to like, you know, save that one. You know, put it in the file and like maybe make some merch from it or like an emote or something. That would be a fun one. Who says you can't just clamp some cables to it? I mean, you almost would have to like put in a like what are they? The little boxes that you put in. I think they're like, you know, you got them on like electronics. You got the little box, so you plug in to your wall outlet, and then they have the little square box, and then the little cord goes to whatever electronic. So that you can kind of, maybe it's a capacitor? I don't know. But then you'd be able to regulate the charge. We have bars with 25 kilograms, usually in the baking sections. Yes, because then that's how you make chocolate and like fudge and stuff, you know? A transformer. Maybe that's what I'm talking about. 1 kilogram of chocolate is also known as diabetes, right? All right, we're going to try this one more time. Fingers crossed I make it work this time. I feel like this happens to me every time I'm trying to hand make rivets. I always have to like square out and round them a bunch of times each attempt because I'm really bad at judging, you know? There's a part of me that wonders if it's just because I need to make it smaller than I think. Because when I take off the corners, maybe I'm upsetting the material a little weirdly. One of these days, I'll have enough practice to be able to, like, you know, figure it out the first time. All right. We're going to do one more time to just kind of even everything out. We're about where we want it, I think. I think for sure this time. Hey, Bob, welcome to the stream. True chocolate does not contain sugar and is 95 to 98% cocoa. Have you guys, or you guys are totally, or like some of you, I know, like I imagine that Bluesy is very well aware, and maybe Sandwich, but chocolate is like, it comes from the beans, but it's like coffee where there's an animal that kind of has to eat it and it has to go through their digestive system to get like the pure like cocoa. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that cocoa and coffee go through the digestive system of like these animals in like the Amazon or something. The civet cat, I think that's what I'm talking about. I watched about it in like a nature documentary one time. That's one specific coffee. Oh, okay. So it must not be everything. And I also know that there, like, specifically in the United States, there's a lot of chocolate that's kind of more artificial. There's a lot less cocoa in, like, a Hershey chocolate than a lot of other chocolates, too. So maybe I am making things a little bit broader than they are. But yeah. Chocolate is one of my favorite things, to be honest. I love chocolate. I like almost always have like Snickers bars in the house, or you know, some kind of chocolate candy in like the little sizes. So we get like individually packaged like a Reese's peanut butter cup. So it's like, you know, peanut butter and then chocolate on the outside, or you know, Snickers where it's nougat, peanut, caramel covered in chocolate. Those are my favorites. But I also really like Rice Krispies, or, you know, puffed rice covered in chocolate. Those are also personal favorite candies of mine. I am a little less jazzed on fruity candy, but I do like gummies, you know? The ones that I tend to prefer have a lot more corn syrup and sugar in them than fruit juice, but you know, a girl can have her vices, right? Cherry cordials are my favorite chocolates. Ooh, I love cherry cordials. But I have to be really careful because the best ones actually have like amaretto or like brandy in them. And you got to be really careful when you eat those. You can't just eat those at work when your coworker offers them to you. Peanut butter rice crispy bars with chocolate topping are the best. Ooh, that sounds delicious. Combining crunch bars with Reese's peanut butter cups. Man, there are so many amazing candies that are in Europe and in other countries. I try to get as many of those as possible at like the world markets and just different cultural markets. I love going to different cultural food markets just to try things, you know? I never am able to prepare things exactly correctly, but I try. Do not say white chocolate. Belgian chocolate is the best. Ooh. I feel like there's a lot of people that would argue that fact, but the Belgian chocolate that I've had has been really good. I also have had a few Swiss chocolate bars that were pretty darn good. You guys might be fighting about that, but you know. So I'm pulling this rivet out a little bit on the cold side because I don't want it to squish too terribly much. I mostly just want a little bit of movement. So keeping it cold will reduce the amount of movement that I get. All right. Check this out again. Got one of our pieces. Looks pretty good. I think I need to hammer one more time on this side, and then we'll take the rounds, or like the corners off. We've got a skinny side and a wide side, and I need to even that out. I like Swiss chocolate, but it's only second best to my taste buds. Lindt is famous, but not that great in my taste. Yesterday morning, I got stung by a scorpion for the first time. Took 50 years, not recommended. My finger is still numb and hurt. It's been like I hit it with a hammer 5 minutes ago for 24 hours. Ooh. I hope you didn't have to go and get like antidotes. I mean, it sounds like it was relatively mild in the poison, but when I think about scorpions, I think, you know, poison bug. But I mean, poison is relative, right? So it's like some are stronger and some are weaker. But yeah, gotta be careful about them scorpions. They have a tendency to get in houses too. When I was really, really little, we lived in Texas and we had to be really careful about scorpions and fire ants getting in the house. We had a very sandy yard. The smaller the scorpion, the more dangerous the venom. Is it? Yeah, I figure different species of scorpions or different varieties of scorpions have different amounts of poison, just like snakes or anything else. Many of the scorpions are basically just a bee sting. Well, that's good. I'm glad. I'll bet it's itchy, though, or it becomes itchy eventually. Another candidate is Kaolin oatmeal cookies. They remain in the pack from bulk pack to XXL pack, going down from 1.7 kilograms to 1.05 kilograms. Also reduced in price, but still 30% more expensive than before. I feel like a lot of corporations try to pull that stuff. Was it radioactive or genetically modified, Scorpion? Just wondering if you might get superpowers. Scorpion! Scorpion woman? Is that how that would work? You'll have to figure out what your name would be if you were a superhero with scorpion powers. Because you can't really be the Scorpion, because that's a bad guy, you know? Maybe like Scorpio. Either way, it would put me in the hospital with anaphylactic shock. Ooh. That's awful. Yeah, that's awful. I've seen a couple people that happened to them, and yeah, I do not recommend. All right, let's do another heat. All right, we're gonna take the corners off. Instead of doing all of the corners all the way down the length, I'm probably gonna take the corners off of the little tip here and try and figure out if it's gonna work this time. That way it saves me a little bit of effort. Right here, and I'm glad I did that, because I think what I did was squared it out and then rounded it back. It doesn't look like it has moved at all, so I need to continue thinning it out. Thinning. Man, my microphone, sorry if there's popping going on. My microphone is being a pain in the butt today. I feel like it just keeps moving around and kind of getting caught in my clothes a little bit. All right, I need to really buckle down and get this rivet taken care of, because we're already an hour into the stream and I haven't even started riveting. So we're gonna have to really buckle down. Oh, you haven't noticed any mic issues? Awesome. That's exciting, because usually I don't do anything and I have mic issues. It keeps like, it feels like my apron strap is like covering the microphone. That's what it feels like to me, but I'm not really looking at it, so I don't know. But yeah. Do you have a peen for rivets? I mean, I kind of do, but like, I'm probably just gonna use a regular hammer. I should be leaving enough material that it will mushroom out, and then I will also be using the swage block, and I've got some dimples in here that are specifically designed for rivet heads. So that is the plan for the moment, is to use the swage block for peening out the rivets or shaping the rivets. And if it doesn't work, then I guess I will go and find my peening hammer and do it that way. The winner of 2024 was Garangi orange juice. They silently went from 100% juice to 50% sugar water. Ooh, Yeah, that's effectively doubling the price. All right. All right, we're going to go a little bit smaller. Full forging blows. We've actually gone quite a bit, or gained quite a bit of length so far. Fingers crossed we can get 2 more heats and then just get it through. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to forge it down one more time with a heavy blow and then round it out. That way, maybe it's a little bit easier to get it through the pieces. Hopefully, we'll be able to make that up by increasing the, or by upsetting it into the hole a little bit. We seem to be doing pretty good with this last dregs propane bottle. I did not expect it to last this long. This is day 4 on the propane bottle that was sponsored by Mahalo. So seems to be doing pretty well in the bucket of water. So maybe we'll get a little bit more efficiency with, using that. It would be nice to get 4 days effectively 4 days out of a can of propane. It is a little bit like cooler inside the forge right now. So, I mean, we'll definitely want a brand new can if we're doing anything really big. But, it's doing this job pretty well. All right. Got a lot of play in there, so we're just going to round that out, and it should go through these. And I keep saying that, and I'm wrong every time. So yeah, good usage of propane. Good on you guys for reminding me or, telling me about using a water bucket. I think the hole keeps shrinking, something like that. I'm not very good at estimating material, I'm getting better as I go, but I'm not as, apt at it as I should be for how long I've been blacksmithing. but I believe we should just be able to to round it out and then cut them off. So I'm gonna actually set up, I'm gonna have faith, and I'm gonna set up my angle grinder. So right now it has a flap disc on it because I was working on cleaning up the axe. Whoops. Where did I put that? There's that one. Erg. There we go. All right, all set up. I would totally cheat and start with a quarter round bar. I'm too lazy to buy a lot of rivets. See, I did start with a quarter bar. This whole project was made out of quarter bar. What happened to your tool? What tool? The one that takes the discs off? The little Y, the little Y tool? I lost that thing forever ago. I think I lost it within the first 2 weeks of owning that thing, but it works pretty well with my multi-tool. For the most part, occasionally I'll get them stuck on there and then I have to have the butler take them off for me. But I mean, that is definitely a point in Lexi's favor. Lexi tends to, or has like a bunch, or used to have a bunch of angle grinders with different discs on each one. So Lexi never had to take them off. Treasure goblins steal those all the time, right? All right, I'm gonna do one more heat because we got about 3 minutes till our next ad. That's the 1 hour ad. I promise I'm not really trying to kind of blow time. Really, I'm afraid of the next step. Like I said, riveting this is going to be a pain in the butt. All right. Ooh, so close. We're going to round this out a little bit more, and we should be able to get it through. Then we'll cut them off. The butler is her significant other. Yes, the butler is my significant other. The butler is a professional videographer and has won Emmys. So all of the quality that you see in the stream is thanks to them. Yeah, that was a good setup. 7 cheap angle grinders all plugged into a power strip. Just grab the one I need. Ooh, they were all plugged in all the time. That makes it even more convenient. Oh, okay, yeah. I assume this is a tool you keep measuring, or that you have an actual butler. Well, I mean, I used to say that, I used to call them my significant other all the time, and that's a mouthful. So chat named my significant other the butler because it's a little bit easier to talk or to say. Cuts off at least 1 syllable. Probably more. More syllables. Unfortunately, I actually have to have, or I can only have one angle grinder at the moment because I need the extra funds that it would take, because I mean, $25 and I can get another tank of propane, I have a 4.5 inch, and a 7, and a 9-inch grinder in the shop. Ooh, a 9-inch grinder. That'd be huge. It'd also be like really, for me, because I'm so small, it would probably be relatively unwieldy until I got used to it. I'd be slightly afraid. I'd be like trying to move and it would just like take me with it, with the centrifugal motion of the disc. I've got a pretty big chop saw disc. That's kind of how I would imagine it. So once this ad is over, I will do one more attempt to round out the rivets, and hopefully they'll go through the pieces, and then we should be able to rivet them together. But mine aren't the cheap ones, Milwaukee and DeWalt. John all bragging about his grinder. Wow. Brains. Ray's brain goes all sorts of places at that comment. Let's go at the tip, because back further, we probably won't need all that material because, yeah. Okay. Toss that through there like so. That through there like, I think I'm going to do it this direction. Ooh, that one's a little bit on the small side, so I might need to ream that one out a little bit. Woo! Same with that one, maybe. It's not liking it. Do I have another one? How about this one? Will this one go? Okay, that one goes. And then how about this one? Will this one go? All right, we should be able to get that nice and in there. So we're going to take this all out. Well, first we're going to mark it so we can cut that. I'm going to mark it about here, I think. There. Then we'll take these all off of here. You misspelled it, Lexi. All my grinders have an E in them. I gave my Makita to Clara over in Long Island, but I gave the rest to the Cheapo Harbor, but the rest were Cheapo Harbor Freight ones. Cheapo Harbor Freight ones. I had a Cheapo Harbor Freight one as my first one as well. I broke that thing so fast. It was kind of ridiculous. All right, I'm going to move the camera. That way you guys can at least see a little bit. You probably won't see very well because of the position that I have this in. But we'll see. We'll try to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. Okay, there's that. Alrighty. Then we're gonna plug in the angle grinder. Ah. Move the water. Alright, let's try this. I think I'm gonna go up there with that. Nah. How about there? I think that's gonna be a better view for you guys. Okie doke. Let's take a look and see what we can do. And if I was a goody two-shoes, I would have worn a mask, which I definitely should have because I don't have the bestest lungs in the world. What did I do with, oh, they're right there. I'm an idiot. They're right there under the angle grinder. All right, so now we have one of our rivets cut off and ready to go. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna heat it up. All right. Move that over there. And then we'll move this over here. And we're gonna move the camera again, so you guys can see me riveting. Because we're finally going to start riveting after all this time. We have reached the main event. Alrighty. We're gonna rivet our trivet. I have a Bosch and Makita corded and a Ryobi cordless angle grinder. Could you use the Hardy hot cut tool for this? Or is that or for smaller things like nails? I probably could actually use the hot cut. I forgot I had it. But yeah, I do have a hot cut, don't I? We made that together. I'll be riveted by the stream, right? And now in small scale, we bet to see how battleships were put together, or we get to see how battleships were putting together. Something like that. Something like that. Alrighty. Fingers crossed this works the first time. But I'm oftentimes really, really awful at riveting things, and I did leave this a little bit on the long side. All right, let's see. I'm going to put us over there. No, I'm going to put us over there, I think. I think that's probably going to be the best. All right. Let's fight to get this rivet out of this forge. Then we're going to stick that like so. And then that. Oops, that was bad. This is not going to happen the first time, it seems. because I've just made it all nice and cold. All right, so we're going to try this again now that I have an idea of how I want to set this up. I'm sorry. I'm really bad at riveting, guys. I'm really bad at riveting. Oh, come on. I lost the rivet in the stand. Haha, I got it. I got it this time. I'm really bad at riveting. That's just the warm-up. Exactly. I have no excuse. I hate riveting. I'm really bad at it. Ray is not Rosie the Riveter confirmed. Yes, definitely confirmed. Okay, so how we're going to do this is the little section that I cut off using the cutoff wheel is going to go down into the hole, like the little dome section. Then we're going to stick this on top of it. And then we're going to stack the other pieces. And theoretically, we're going to rivet it together. Ugh. I'm so bad at this. I try things and then, it just doesn't work out for me. But I learn as I do, and then I forget. I promptly forget every single time. Because I go through the same thing every single time I try to rivet something. Oh, come on. There we go. I'm trying to flip it so it's a little bit easier to grab. Ugh. I'll put that over there. All right. Let's attempt to not fail this time. All right. Or we could fail to get it in there this time. That's good too. You know what? I'm going to do this cold. We're going to grab a different side. Hopefully it'll work. All right, that's better. We're going to start this cold. All right, we're going to heat this up now. We've kind of got it set in there a little bit. Now we need to like move the heads so that they work a little bit easier. And this is really tight. So I'm going to move it a little bit just like I would a set of tongs. All right, like so. We're moving things. It's working a little bit easier now. All right, so let's heat this up, and then we will continue to rivet the heads. And I'm probably showing this to you in a place that it's not amazingly like focused. Apologies. All right. Ugh. We're going to be modifying a little bit or a few of the pieces as we go, just because some of them are a little bit blocked by like some flashing from the shear. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and grab the punch that we used. We'll heat these guys up and stick them all the way through again. So I think what I'm going to do is probably put this in there so that I can actually try that. We'll put it over there. It'll heat up, but not too bad. All right. So yeah, that was the first rivet. The first of the ridiculously difficult rivets. So part of the reason why they're going to be so difficult is because I have to remember like which side I need to stack them on, right? So I've got the stack where there's the long side, the leg, and then the other long side. Now what I need to do is I need to open the sides and stack another leg in the same position as so that they are, I guess, two and they're parallel. So it's going to be a little bit challenging. I'll try to remember which side I want to rivet to what side. We're also probably going to be needing to change the propane tank shortly. So that way it will heat up a little bit quicker. Hope this isn't a troublesome trivet. I mean, yes, it's totally a troublesome trivet. That's part of the whole point. I also need to make sure that they're a little bit longer, like the rivets. This one seems a little bit on the short side. Okay, let's try this again. I'm going to pull our trivet out again. Do a little bit more riveting. All right, we now have one riveted together. So let's kind of move these guys. Okay. Like I said, we want to kind of move these all so that they loosen up a little bit. Makes it a little bit easier to move things around. So we're going to quench this off. And as we do that, I'm going to try to open and close them a bit. But I lost track of the leg. All right. Still a little bit on the hot side. I swear by using the bolt and nut method turns into a rivet method for my tongs. But the store-bought rivets are sweet for things like trivets. I've only done the CCL trivet blanks and they come with rivets. Yeah, it's always easier not to have to make the rivets yourself. All right. All right, it is real nice and together. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take this guy, kind of open it up a little bit. All right, so we've got a nice open trivet. And then we'll be able to hammer that back and forth. The more we do that, the smoother it gets. The smoother it gets. All right, that's a little bit better. Now I've closed it up and I've made it worse. It's pretty tight right now. Let's see. There we go. Much better. It should be a little bit like easier to open, kind of like a switchblade almost. All right. So now we need to start working on our next one, like our next leg setup. So I need another leg. Don't touch that. What did I dropped a bunch of them, of the pieces. It would be a lot easier if I was organized, but you know what? I dropped a whole bunch of stuff because that's what I do. There should be one more side to this. I have both of the legs, but what happened to the side? It must have fallen off somewhere. Oh, I'm an idiot. It's in the forge, man. It's in the forge, guys. One of these days. Goodness gracious. All right, so let's move that over there. These guys are going to move over there. And this one's going to move there. All right, cool. Here is that. Yes, it's hiding in the fire. All right, so this one and that one. This one definitely needs to be opened. So this one is going in the fire. While this one comes out. And I know I'm not like... There's that. I know that I'm not like showing you guys a close-up of this, but I'm kind of trying, I'm trying to hurry a little bit, I think. Not I think, I am trying to hurry a little bit. All right. Okay, so that should be a lot easier. Let me grab the rivet that I have. Because that fell on the ground too, guys. It fell on the ground too. I don't know how hot this is. The end of the bar is probably pretty cool. Don't touch it, Ray. Don't touch it. You just heated this thing. Okay. In there. And then we're going to turn this around and heat that side. This is where it becomes really chaotic, guys. This is where it becomes really chaotic. All right. How's my switchblade doing? Kind of low-key, if it's friend-shaped, why not touch? Or like, if it's friend-shaped, why not touch, right? Definitely not friend-shaped, though. We're going to use this so we're not marring the corners. Definitely don't want to mar the corners if we don't have to. Open, close. Yeah. Open, close. Okay. Chaos. Okay. So leave that there for the moment. Move that out of the way so it doesn't get hot. We'll pull this bar out. Need to get a little bit hotter, I think. Oh, it came out. That's good. It's exactly what I want. All right. This bar is a little on the warm side. That bar is also very warm. So let's see if I can't pick it up and do it this way. Because we open the one side. Or we can drop things. That works too. Kind of low-key if it's, yeah. I already read that one. Like I said, it's really chaotic right now, brain. I have a lot of pieces that are currently in the fire literally and figuratively. So I am a little bit scatterbrained right now, but I knew that this was going to happen. It's exactly how things happen for me. So, ideally what happens is we open up this part of the trivet, and then we stack the next leg in the center here, and then we stack the next side on top of there. So then both stacks on this one are exactly the same, right? So then the other side, wait. Math, guys, math. So if I stack them on this side, then this side and the new side are going to be exactly the same. Okay. So no idea I've ever made a trivet or used one, right? Okay, so if they're both like this, stack. Okay, I remember. Okay, I remember now. I was like, I did the math. I did the design. How am I gonna, yeah. So there are 3 legs to it. We only have one riveted in right now. So what we're going to be doing is doing a secondary stack on this guy, and it is going to be the secondary stack. We don't actually want these to sit like this. We want to sit it like this, right? So these 2 will have to be bent outward in order for it to sit correctly. I remember. It took me a little bit, but I got there. I got there. Okay. Goodness gracious. Trigonometry is not one of my strong suits. But I knew that this was going to happen. It was going to confuse me because it always does. Every time I do things like this, I always get confused. I always get confused. Yeah. So I designed it right here. All I had to do was turn around and look. One of these days, right? One of these days. Maybe some of the projects need to be those super hard puzzles that seem impossible to get apart. Probably. All right, I'm going to put this right here. We're going to do a little bit of rejiggering. Okay, so I'm going to reduce the profile on the rivets, and I'm going to use my hot cut to cut them off. We're going to spin the rivet as we're cutting it. And then, so after consulting my design, which is right here, I have a drawing of how it works. I have realized that after our second rivet, we are going to have to do a temporary shaping round, right? So basically what we're going to be doing is we are going to be bending one of the sides into our semicircle and bending the 2 sides, or like the 2 free sides, so that they create a triangle that we can then rivet together. So we will be doing a shaping round after this next rivet. Okay. Because math, guys, because math. We're doing trigonometry. We're making a triangle. All right. So that should be good to go. Put that in there. Pull this one out. Ruh. All right, that one's going to take a little bit more rejiggering to get the rivet inside of there. I guess I want that to be on the floor. Okay. Okay. Now I need that to go like so. I thought about getting a bunch for my living room, so that my friends can play with them rather than a cell phone. They're a lot of fun, but I feel like you'd have to get a lot of them, because once you got the trick to open them, then you can always open them, unless it's like, you know, you put out like 10 of them and they work them, or they work on them, learn them, and then you put them away for like, you know, 6 months, and then you bring out another set of them, because then in that 6 months people are going to forget how to open them, right? It's nice to have several pieces in the fire, right? Yeah. I try to be a little bit more efficient when I've got a number of stuff going on, or a number of things going on. Ow, that's hot. You know what, guys? I just picked this guy up and it's hot. It's hot. So let's cool it down. It's not hot enough to actively like injure my skin. It only minorly burned me. So we're good. Okay. So we've got this side here that we're going to rivet onto this side here, I think. Yes, onto this side here, just like so. But with a leg in between. Alrighty. I do want to make sure that this is going to go through, and it will. That's definitely correct. Alrighty. Okay, so that can sit there for a moment. This one can go in the fire. You know what? I forgot to change my... Riveting the Trivet sounds like a 90s alt band, right? It does. All right, we're going to get rid of the hold down so that I don't accidentally chop a finger off. We're going to move this guy over here for a second. And then we're going to pull out one of the legs that we're still trying to play with. Okay. All right. Let's cool this one down. We are now ready for our second rivet. All right. So Our second rivet is going to go like this. We are going to take this side and put this one on here, like so. And then we're going to take this and stick it just like so. So our second rivet is going to be just like this. And we've got a bend in here in this leg, and that's going to help us. So we should be able to rivet this all together using the swage block. It should be very nice, very convenient, and good to go. All right. Let me rehash the camera so I am a little bit more in focus on the swage block. Okay. Hey, oh my God, Pete. Welcome to the stream. All right, let's see if the rivet is hot enough. Okay, it should be good to go. Can I even get it out of there? Probably not with these, but maybe with these. Can I? Can I? I can. Okay, cool. Let's do our second attempt. This is going to be a crazy, crazy thing. And I think I'm going to put that right there. Okay. We want this to go like so, and then we will stack the rest of our pieces on top of that and hammer it all together. Or it's not happy. And I lost my rivet. You know what? This happens every single time, guys. It happens every single time. We're definitely going to have to reheat this guy. But let's see if it will even go through. And it won't. It won't go through that hole. Will it go through this hole? No, it will not. All right. Well, I need to make this guy, the rivet, a little bit smaller maybe. Or I can just start from the bar. Goodness gracious, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know why I apologize. This just happens, you know. Sometimes making rivets is not the easiest thing in the world. And also, to make myself feel a little bit better and give myself a little bit more ease, instead of using my nice pretty hammer for using the hot cut, I'm going to use the beat up hammer that I use for tooling. All content, right? All content. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. All right. It might actually be easier just to open this up a little bit more. Maybe I'll do that. Put that in there just like so. How wide is this? Will it even go through the rest of it? Nope, it's not wide enough. Or, I mean, it's too wide. So that means I need to thin out the rivet even more. Because because it won't even fit the smallest section of that. This is what I get for trying things, right? Okay. Trying to make my own rivets. I should have just bought rivets because that way I wouldn't have had to worry about this, right? But I don't know any really good spots to buy rivets, if that makes sense, guys. If you guys got any good spots to buy rivets, please do let me know. Alrighty. Maybe I could order them somewhere, you know? Oh, come on. Hands are starting to shake a little bit. I'm not sure why. Some days they do. Okay, so that should make it a little bit easier to get that through. So now I'm going to go that direction. Or get it stuck in there. That works too, right? I'm going to move the camera. Have you eaten today? I have eaten. I have eaten, I promise. I had a micro meal, which is obviously not the best because, I mean, they're full of sodium. But I did actually eat a micro meal, or like a TV dinner that was, what was it? It was lasagna. So there's these Marie Callender brand like little lasagnas. So they have these little straight noodles that have little ridges on the end, and it's like cheese and pasta sauce and like little bits of meat. Maybe I need a Gatorade. That might actually help. I could use the sugar. Let me go grab one real fast. I also had like a whole 16 ounces of Mountain Dew, and that usually like really keeps my hands from shaking, but today, I don't know, I feel a little... Marie Callender does make tasty meals. There is a super secret place we get cheap rivets. I'll find it and drop it in your Discord later. Awesome. I would appreciate that. Like I said, I'm not the best at riveting, and I just really hate making them, you know? All right. But I always end up designing things that have rivets because they're so cool, you know? You know what? I totally forgot to flip the camera. Oh, goodness. So like I said, when I designed this piece, I knew that I was going to have quite a bit of issues. Okay, we've got plenty of wiggle room there on these guys, so we should be good to go. All right, so I'm going to heat this up one more time so I can hammer it, or so I can close it. I think it might actually be a little bit too thin. Hey, Bubba, welcome to the stream. We're struggling a little bit. Just a little bit. Dropping things, man, dropping things. Let's grab this hammer. We'll stick that right so. Then we're gonna pull this guy out. And put this in so, like so. Oh man, you know what? Part of the reason that that other hammer is so great is that it's bigger. It's bigger, guys, so that means it's easier to hit with accuracy. All right, now I am going to quench that off. Quench it, quench it. All right, cool. We are ready to go. So that one, then that one, then that one. All right. It's exactly what I want to see. Okay. All right. Let's go here. All right. We have plenty of space now. As we drop things. The cut edge always is a little bit crazy. Okay, so there's that. I'm setting this up just so that I know what I'm doing a little bit. And then just like so. All right, so that's exactly what I want to see. We've got a little bit of excess there, so we might actually move it over there. Got to heat this guy up. Okay. Heat this guy up. Okie doke. Quench it up, and the quench is going to quench, quench, quench. All right, I think I'm actually going to use a different hole this time just because I made this rivet a little bit too long. So I hope that if I use a deeper rivet header hole, it might work a little easier, or at least for a good start. And then I'll be able to move it over to the smaller one later. I always seem to make them a little bit too short or a little bit too long. It's kind of my jam, I think. There we go. That should be nice and open. And that one can also get quenched off. That one's going to go over there for the moment. Alrighty. Let's check on our rivet. It's still a little bit on the cool side. I'm not going to say it. Say what? What did I do? I moved the hot cut out of the thingy. 3OG, thank you so much for that follow. We're a little chaotic today. We're making a trivet. The riveting spot or part is the worst part for me. I am so terrible at making rivets. So terrible. Quench It Off to the tune of Shake It Off by Taylor. Taylor is one of my very favorites. To those of you who are new. Alright. I'm about to lose my rivet in the gap. Alright, I got an ad that's going to be starting soon. You might have mentioned that once or twice. I mean, yes, but there are some new people here. Maybe. Maybe not, I don't know. Okay, we have an ad coming up in about 2 minutes. I'm hoping that I can get this riveted together. Let's see. I would be willing to bet that no, I cannot do it. Because you know what? I hate rivets. Rivets suck. Suck so bad. Why do I do things like this to myself? I do not know. All right, there's my hammer. And I have my hand in the way. You guys probably can't see that. Some of you might be like, Ray, your hand, you are so close. And that's totally true as well. All right, that one is looking really bad. I might want to pull that out. I don't know. Actually, I think it's all right. I do need to heat it up, though. I do need to heat it up, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to heat it up. Crunchy Butt, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. This is what we do. It's usually not as chaotic, though. Usually not quite as chaotic. I keep reaching for my water as though it's my Gatorade, but my water is empty. My water is empty. So we have 30 minutes to finish this trivet. I think we're probably going to go into overtime and make it an hour. We'll see how it works. I hope my struggle is fun for you guys to watch, though, because, you know, sometimes it can be. Sometimes it can't be. All right, I'm going to push that in there a little bit further because it's not getting quite as hot as I want it to. It's pretty cool. Hi, oh my god, I can't stay today, but so happy to have found you. I'm a big fan of blacksmithing. Well, thanks for joining as long as you can. Blacksmithing is one of my passions, and it's definitely one of my hyperfixations a little bit. Or, you know, a major hobby. Real-time problem solving. That's exactly what we're doing here today, Mahalo. Real-time problem solving. I feel like that's how I live my life, though. So I'm a little bit quiet today while I am riveting some of this together. But it's because I have a lot of thoughts, but they're not, like, very organized right now. I'm a nerd for historic crafting technique. I love blacksmithing, but I'm definitely not as into the historical stuff. I use a lot of machinery. But yeah, I have several different thoughts running in my head simultaneously, and they're all kind of jumbled around, so it's going to be a little bit harder for me to translate my thought process through some of this stuff. I'm trying really hard to kind of talk my thoughts out loud, but I'm only really talking one stream of thought at the moment. You know, because there's only one, I only have one voice. All right, so that rivet is getting a lot hotter. We should be able to try it again as soon as the ad ends. All right, let's try this again. I don't know how well it's gonna go. I think I'm gonna actually put that down there. You'll be able to see a little bit easier that way. Let's see how we do. How we do. We are riveting a trivet. Flipping over to the other side. Making that head nice and round. Dropping it. All right. I think we need to work on this side a little bit further. All right. Now we're gonna go like so, and then grab another set of tongs because we want to be able to open it and close it. Move the hammer so it's out of the way. All right. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. So the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna toss the whole thing in the forge. All right. So what we need to do for our next step is we need to take this hole and that hole, this hole and this hole, and we need to rivet those together, and we need this guy in between them. So in order to do that, we are going to bend this side this way, so it's going to be concave, and we also need to bend this side out that way, and this side over here we're going to need to bend this way. So the whole thing is going to go in the forge. We're not going to do it immediately right at the same time. It's probably going to take us a couple heats to do. All right, so the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to put away some of the stuff that we don't need anymore because we're going to be using the anvil primarily to get that curve. I'm going to move this out of the way. And, you know what? I have just the right tool for this. When I went to Indy, I was given this guy. That's a cone mandrel. and it goes in my hardy hole, and then I can use this to bend the curve, and it should be relatively even, a relatively even bend. Michael Beastmo Daughtry, I wonder if they got their name due to to a person that was trying to get revenge out on a piece, and it ended up not looking the way they were trying to get it to be of a rivet, and the name of the trivet was born. I mean, maybe. You could just line it up and rivet it cold, or yeah, I probably could. But I do need to heat everything up to kind of bend it first. And I mean, yeah, I don't know. I might end up riveting it cold just because it is a little bit easier, and I've pretty much been riveting it cold this whole time anyway. So I don't know. It might just work better that way. I'm actually fairly impressed that this propane tank has been holding out as long as it has. Fairly impressed indeed. Okay. So, I'm going to use both of these sets of tongs. I'll put that over there. I thought trivet is short for trivial rivet. Trivet is a object, or in this case, it is an object. And it's basically like a pot holder. All right, this guy needs to go up and right there. All right, so my plan is to grab a hold of both sides of the two rivets that we've already made and bend it across the cone mandrel. Untersetzer, something like under putter, something like that. It's for under a pot. Okay. So hit that button. Then we're going to hit that button. And that should be acceptable. I'm going to pull this one like so. And we're going to pull this one like so, maybe. I don't know. Not happy. All right. Flying. This is hard to pick up this way. Let me see if I can't grab it a little easier. I'm going to heat this back up and we're going to try that again. This guy isn't working as well as I wanted it to. Is there a practical reason you don't shape each part individually before riveting them together, or do you just start building and figuring things out later like me? I think that it's the latter. Oftentimes I do figure things out later, but in this case, there was a logic, right? So the design has 3 curved sides, right? And if I had curved each of these designs before I riveted them together, then it would have been near impossible to keep it in position for riveting, right? So I kept them straight, figuring that I would rivet them, or that I would bend them later. And yes, it is difficult to do it that way, but I feel like it's easier to rivet. And I would rather have the hard part be bending it later than riveting it, if that makes sense. So only the last rivet has to be done while it's already curved. And I think I might actually just use the horn of the anvil instead of, I think I'm gonna actually go back here. I know I'm using the same angle over and over, but okay. The rest of this process is so much more difficult that I'm just kind of being lazy with my camera work today. I apologize. All right, I don't want to trip on this hammer. So this hammer is going back in there for the moment. All right, now I have both the horn, or the horn and the cone, in focus-ish. So we should be able to make some things happen, some magic happen. Fingers crossed and all that. Whew. Alrighty, let's try this. I might actually try using the bigger tongs too. So that makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so we've got a basic curve done. So the next thing that we kind of want to do is bring these two together. Oh, you know what? It helps with, okay. So now we have the start of a triangle. So what we need to do now is curve these two sides. And this is our temporary positioning. We will make it prettier after we get this last rivet in. All right, and this is why the big forge was so essential today. All right. All right, now we got the whole thing in the forge. The horn seems like the most fun to use. I mean, sometimes. I'm going to take this out. I didn't seem to use that before. I might use it a little bit later. Once we've got the two riveted together, I might pull that back out. But yeah, the horn is pretty fun to use. Goodness gracious. This is the last rivet. This is the most difficult part. So yeah, this is where it could be a challenge. All right. But it is also where all of our work has paid or will have paid off. It's almost like one of those trust the processes, you know? So hopefully it works out for us. But, you know, things happen. Let's see. I'm going to grab these tongs, and it's always good to have a million sets of tongs because you never know what kind of tongs you're going to need. So I might use these tongs. I might use these tongs. It's kind of going to be like either or. See what's going to be the easiest to use. Alrighty. Looks like we've got the far side ready to go. Let's try this. Now, like I said before, I'm kind of problem solving this on the fly, so we might have some trials and tribulations where it takes us a little bit of extra effort to kind of get things to function correctly. So it's starting to get there, right? So we're going to heat it up one more time because we want to bend this just a little bit more. We've got a decent amount of bend. We just need a little bit further. But you can kind of see it start to take shape. Like I said, we are going to be readjusting this so it all fits together nice and pretty, and there's a little bit more of an opening in that. As I drop it right before I stick it in the forge. That's the best. All right, how are we gonna get this in here? You know what? I'm fighting this, so we're gonna go with this. Genuinely the most interesting blacksmithing process I've ever seen. It's compelling, engrossing. What's the word? I don't know what the word is. I think the word is actually novice. That's what I am. I'm such a novice at this. I gotta be a little bit careful because I don't want to drop the mailbox, which is my small forge, because I'm trying to get this piece inside of the forge. All right. I've almost got it in there. Almost. There we go. I got it. I got it. I'm proud of myself. I'm going to take this rivet out for a moment. And I'm going to drop it like 60 times. Always the best. We'll stick it right there, and we'll heat that up really quickly. One call after another, right? Some days it be that way. All right, so we're going to move the mailbox back so that it's not interfering with the bricks. And then we're going to make sure that the bricks are balanced properly. And I'm not going to drop them, because dropping these bricks is painful to watch. I promise. So this is also one of the reasons why I made my forge so large, so that I could make larger pieces that were like, you know, yay big around and still be able to fit them in there. Now, if I had been thinking, I would have gotten rid of the bottom layer of bricks, and that would have made the opening a lot bigger. Yeah, fire bricks do shatter badly. But yeah, like I said, if I'd have been thinking, I would have taken out the bottom layer of bricks. I usually put them in there because it allows the forge to heat up a lot quicker and a lot more hot, more efficiently. But this time, you know, it might have been a mistake not to take those out. All right, we're getting there. Things are pretty hot now. I think we're going to try this again. Let's do this. Maybe we'll finally get it this time to the point where we can rivet it together. If we can even get it out of here. Okay. Okay. Now I need to pick it up by the other side. Come on. Grab it. Okay, look at that. I think we're at a point where we might be able to kind of figure that one out. So look at that. That might actually work. You know what? I'm an idiot, and I totally wasn't paying attention to the legs, and they're all different. Sides. This one is backwards. If I make this like this, it's backwards. Ugh, that's annoying. Always annoying. But I don't think these things through a lot, so you know. Okay, so the next thing that I'm gonna do, because this is close enough for me, you know, because I can do it either way. I'm gonna quench this guy off. That way I can set things up and it'll make it a lot easier. Alrighty. Okay, it's now nice and cold. So here it is, right? So it's almost where it needs to be. Once we're done with this, I'm gonna kind of once we're done with the riveting, gotta throw it out and start over now, right? Okay, so once we're done riveting this together, we'll be able to reshape it. This one's a little warm. Let's cool it off so it's a little easier to touch. All right, so what side do I want it on? All right, so we've got it just like so. Maybe I'll do it this way. That way it's a little bit easier. Okay. Need to put the rivet back in, right? Okay. I do need to put the rivet back in. So we're going to do that. We're going to put the rivet back in right like so. Then we're going to move this over just like so. Breathing is a good thing. All right. I'm actually pretty happy with this. It's turning out pretty darn good, to be honest. One of my legs is clearly going to be backwards based on the others, but I think that's all right for my first attempt. I think it's forgivable. Otherwise, I can always grind out that rivet, turn it over, and try it again. You know, after I've got everything nice and finessed, we can try it again if we need to, if we want to. Okay. This guy's a little bit short. I may need to put this back in one more time, because there's a little bit of flashing in there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this and stick that in there, just so that I can make sure that it's the rivet's going to fit through it. Okay. Put that there because we don't want to hurt ourselves. Nope, I want us there still. Let's go through there. No, it will not. So I need to make this a little bit smaller. Different tongs will make this easier. Okay, will it go through now? Nope, we'll heat it up and try it again. I'm also trying to push the trivet in a little bit further because it's not quite getting as hot as I want it to. There it goes. That's a little better. All right, I got everything kind of, we'll put that there, ready to go. This is definitely one of the worst ways to hold a, well, not one of the worst. It's a lot better than it could be. Ways to hold a handle. This is not like, you know, how I normally hold it. Okay, well, this one is also a little bit, so I guess this one is also going in the fire. All right, and I forgot. Oh, I will wait until the ad break is over to do my next heat. I don't know what I'm looking for. Goodness gracious, the last one, it's going to be a little bit chaotic. You know, we're going to do our best. I'm going to give myself another half an hour to make this happen. We will finish this project today, and then on Friday, for Friday stream, we will be celebrating my affiliate anniversary. We have been an affiliate for 1 year yesterday. So the party is going to be on Friday. We're going to give away a t-shirt, and we're going to start a new armor project. I'm super excited. Okay. Super excited. I love making armor. It's one of my favorite things to do. Along with like frying pans, I just love working with sheet. It combines both blacksmithing and silversmithing, and those are two of my favorite ways to work with metal. Alrighty. Once this ad is done, we're going to do a mega heat where we are going to open up the leg hole and the side hole, and then we're also going to work with our rivet. I would love to make armor too. It sounds fun. It is fun. It's super fun. Goodness. But yeah, this should be a fun project. I may need to. It may not be quite as open as I wanted it to be, but I think we'll be good. I think it'll work for us. I think I've said like 60 times right in that sentence. Doesn't sound fun to me. That's all right. That's all right. Not every process is for every smith. There's a cricket on the floor. A cricket. Okay. We're good. Let's do this mega heat. We is back. Yeah, not every process is for every smith. I don't blame you for not liking armor making, John. It can be a pain in the butt. It can definitely be a pain in the butt. All right, are we going to try on this side? I guess we are. I guess we're going to start on this side. See if I can't make this happen. I got to be really careful about this because the direction that this is going to be a great way to accidentally like hurt myself, if that makes sense, or like burn myself. Okay, I think we are good. So I'm gonna quench this guy so it's easier to rivet. And that can go right there. Then we're going to pick this guy back up. And we're going to open him up. Quench it. Now we've got all the pieces ready to go. Next thing. Okay. Will they go through? This is the moment of truth. Woohoo! Almost. Almost will they go through. Maybe I need to open this one. How is this guy? Is this guy all right? That guy is also all right. Okay. So I'm going to heat this up. We're going to cut that there. We're going to open this side up. Maybe I'll put it in like so. There we go. Hey, Blue Red Metal. Welcome to the stream. 15 is a lot of streams. I greatly appreciate that. You know? 15 may not seem like a lot, but when you think about the fact that we've only had 52 weeks, and some of them were 3 streams a week, some of them were only 2 or 1 stream a week. That's, that's a pretty decent number. Time does fly when you're having fun. We've got one more hole to open up. We've got a cut our rivet. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, guys. As you can tell, I'm getting pretty tired. So once we get this riveted together, I will probably not quite or I'll probably save the finessing for some other time. Because yeah, like I said, I'm getting a little bit tired. Alrighty. Let's do that one. Alrighty. And I want that to be about yay big. Oh, I was going to do the other hammer. This wasn't I. That way I don't accidentally wreck my lovely good hammer. My nice pretty hammer. Okay. Alright, this one I'm done with it for the rest of the day. This rivet is going in the forge. And then let's pull this guy out of there. You can go back in there. That can go in the quench bucket because it's not needed. All right, let's check on this guy. See how he's going. He's going pretty good. If I can get it to a point where I can stick this through, right? Okay, so let's try that. Or I could drop it, that works too. You know what? I'm going to have to heat that up again. I'm sorry. Alright, we'll get that in there eventually. Or not, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to fight this. Did you get the hammer you won? Yes, I did get the hammer I won. It's this guy right here. Yeah, this guy. Mark Ling. It's a rounding hammer. It's been working really well. I like it a lot. I feel your pain. The other day I was making a cup of coffee using the Keurig machine, and I put the K-cup where the coffee cup should go and tried to put the coffee cup where the K-cup should go. It did not fit, right? Wow. That is quite the ordeal. All right. Our rivet is doing just fine. You can do that. You can go in like so. Maybe? Fighting! I am fighting this piece of steel. I fight steel a lot. My primary hammer is a Ling Crosspeen. Yeah, I really like this guy a lot. But I do wish it was a Crosspeen because, you know what? As cool as a rounding hammer is, there's nothing like a Crosspeen, you know? I guess I've picked my side, you know, the rounding hammer versus Crosspeen hammer for your daily driver. What did I just drop? Oh, it's the other leg. I need it. I need it. But yeah, it is an absolutely gorgeous hammer. I like it. It feels really nice in my hand. The weight distribution is amazing. I just wish that it was a cross peen. So I don't know. I'm going to have to find myself a Markling cross peen, or, you know, maybe we'll make a cross peen in the same style, or as close to the same style as I can get, because, you know, I'm a little bit new to making hammers. All right, let's see how well this does. It's probably not going to do so hot. Whatever. Whatever, whatever. All right, well, it's in there. Fingers crossed it'll go through the rivet. Let's cool this down. Cool it down. That's not what I want. This is. Okay. Oh, I forgot to change my camera. Oh, goodness gracious. Like I said, I'm starting to get real tired, guys. But we'll get this done. We shall get this done. Okay. So, we're going to put it in, or put it together just like so. We're going to do our very best. This is going to be very challenging. But we're going to try it real hard, guys. The only thing I didn't like was the handle was pretty square and dug in when I got used to it. Yeah, this one's a little less square than one of my other ones. It's a little bit rounded, but I think it's all right. All right, let us change the camera and make sure that I am still recording, or change the camera view. Make sure I'm still recording. All right. Maybe 2 more heats. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. All right, guys, what do you think? Am I going to get this? Tell me no, because I'm not. Probably not going to get this right the first time. Ooh, I actually got it through. That's exciting. That's a good sign. Okay. All right. Okay, so it is riveted together. I am going to have to put this whole thing in the forge to kind of finesse it just a little bit. It's not moving very well, and that's because it's just not in a good position. So we will try that, see what we can do to fix this. But this is how it's supposed to look. If I can get it in there, that would be nice. Let me change the cameras. That way you guys can kind of watch me struggle to get it in there a little bit easier. Maybe we'll try it this way. There's a brick that's kind of up. in there. There we go. That's better. Okie doke. Completing all the rivets is a win. It is a win. I'm super excited. And we still have 10 minutes before 3-hour mark, right? That's not bad too. All right. I am done with the swage block for the moment, so I'm going to put this over there. I don't really trust myself to put it back where it goes because I'm a little bit tired, and I think that I'm going to start striking out. But I think we can get one more heat in, and after this last heat where I'm securing these rivets, I think that is where I'm going to call the stream for the day. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you had fun watching me fight this trivet and kind of, you know, show what it's like to learn a new project as you go. Let me change the focus one last time so you guys can see on the anvil face. There we go. Goodness gracious. Are you still thinking of some over travel stops for the legs? I am. I will definitely be putting those in there. But I think that I'm going to do a little bit of that when I am, I'll probably do that when I'm cleaning it up in the shop right before I post the video for it. So I'll try to do a little bit of the, I'll try to record a little bit of that. I typically don't record my cleanup process, but I'll try to do that a little bit. But yes, we have these legs. They should be relatively loose right now. So if I were to use the trivet for its intended purpose, right now, the legs would splay out and it would just fall. So what's the point of having legs if they're just going to splay out and fall? So what I want to do is I want to take some wire or some like a little tiny piece of steel and kind of put it as a stopper on the outside so that they can fold all the way in, but they can only fold outward until they hit the stop. And that may actually involve some dremeling, so I don't want to do that on stream. It's a little bit too small of work. That's something that I would do in the other shop, and I just don't want to move us. But yeah. Okay, last heat, guys, last heat. Okay. We're almost there, Ray. We're almost there. We can do it. All right. Not bad. I think that is actually exactly how I want it to be. It is a little bit stiff right now, but we'll be able to open that up a little bit easier after a little bit. Let me see if I can't hammer it down a little. There we go. There we go. That's exactly what I want to see. Okay, so this won't fold in because it's too close together. You can see that right there. But it is moving, and that's exactly what I want to see. So we will be finessing the sides of this, opening it up a little bit. But we'll be doing that a little bit later. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's pretty good. So we're going to quench this off and call it a day, I think. All right. There it is. So maybe I can move. No, I can't. But yeah, it's getting there. That's it. Alrighty, guys. So now it just looks like some kind of crazy star that you just kind of throw. Like I said, there is a little bit more finesse work that needs to happen. We need to open up that central area and make the rounds a little bit more smooth. That involves putting the entire thing in the forge. I need to clear out the bottom layer of bricks, so we will be doing that at some point. So you can kind of see kind of how it works. It'll fold all the way up like so, and then these guys will pop out and become legs. Like so. Trivet. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I have had a blast, and this has been a challenge. So thank you for joining me on this journey. And I hope to see you guys on Friday. All right. Thinks it was fun. Yes. I hope it was fun. Now it can be a tree stand for Charlie Brown's for Christmas. Finished just in time for breaks over, right? Have a wonderful rest of your day and have a good tomorrow. I had a blast is a misleading statement next to a bottle of propane, right? It's an American idiom. Having a blast is having a great time. All right, we're going to go back to some pottery with Miramac. So thank you guys so much. Bye. That works so much better than I thought it would.